Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fine Feathered Friends History Redo. My name is Jay Bird, and today's episode is The Petticoat Affair. In today's episode, we'll talk about how catty gossip wreaked havoc within a president's cabinet. This incident occurred during the presidency of our nation's second most racist president, Andrew Jackson. It was all started by the wife of his vice president, John C. Calhoun. This is the story of the Petticoat Affair. It was all started by Calhoun's wife and first cousin Floride, who led a clique of cabinet members' wives who called themselves the Petticoats. They socially ostracized the wife of Jackson's Secretary of War, John Eaton, due to their circumstances of their marriage. The Petticoats deemed Peggy to be unbecoming and lacking the morals of a cabinet wife. When Jackson was elected in 1828, he was enamored with Peggy and felt the newly widowed mother of three would make a good wife for one of his colleagues. John Eaton was friends with Peggy and her husband John Timberlake, but when he passed away on April 2nd, 1828, the two became very close and they would marry 9 months later. Their quick marriage soon became the talk of the town, as many felt she married too soon after the death of her husband. John Eaton was named Secretary of War by Andrew Jackson in 1829. Floride Calhoun began to shun the Eatons publicly, and she led an anti-Peggy coalition that also started to spread gossip about her and their marriage. Rumors about Peggy and John having an affair while she was still married, along with her husband killing himself over the alleged affair, began to spread like wildfire. Soon the bad blood between the wives drifted towards the husbands, causing a rift within Jackson's cabinet, all because of the Petticoats. Jackson sided with Eaton due to similar rumors that plagued him earlier in his political career, which led his wife Rachel to an early grave. There was also bad blood between Jackson and Calhoun over the Tariff Act of 1828 and his decision to run for a second term as President of the United States. Martin Van Buren, Jackson's Secretary of State, also stood by Eaton as his cabinet began to splinter. Eaton and Van Buren resigned so Jackson could clean house and put together a new executive cabinet. The only cabinet member to stay was Postmaster General William Berry, who also sided with Eaton during the Petticoat Affair. The resignations allowed Jackson to dismiss Calhounites Secretary of the Treasury Samuel Ingham, Secretary of the Navy John Branch, and U.S. Attorney General John Barron. With no more allies within the cabinet, Calhoun knew his days were numbered, so he resigned as vice president in December of 1832 due to his role in the nullification crisis. The main reason Floride didn't care for Peggy Eaton was that she was a smart, flirty, outgoing, and well-spoken, educated woman. She represented everything a proper Southern lady shouldn't be, so they hated her for it. A woman who married her first cousin, criticizing another about their morality. Well, Peggy's very presence threatened the status quo within the high society ladies of Washington, D.C. Some historians view Peggy Eaton as an early feminist because of her own willingness to conform to how society viewed women in the 1800s. When John Calhoun resigned as vice president, he had less than 3 months remaining in office, and he was unofficially replaced by Martin Van Buren. Around the very same time, South Carolina Senator Robert Hayne resigned his post and became governor of the state. The very first thing he did was replace himself with John Calhoun, who would become a thorn in the side of Andrew Jackson during his next term, but his reputation was ruined due to the nullification crisis, and he would never become President of the United States. Andrew Jackson said of the whole Petticoat Affair, "I'd rather have live vermin on my back than the tongue of one of those Washington women on my reputation." Peggy O'Neill Eaton would marry later for a third time, 3 years after the death of her husband, John Eaton, to an Italian music and dance teacher, Antonio Bucciani. She was 59 and he was in his 20s. After 7 years of marriage, Bucciani ran off to Europe with all of her money and her 17-year-old granddaughter. She was able to legally divorce her third husband, who went and married her granddaughter, but she didn't get any of the money back that he stole from her. Peggy died in poverty at the age of 79. She was laid to rest in Oak Hill Cemetery, located in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of Fine Feather Friends History Redo. My name is Jay Bird, and I hope to see you soon. Take care now. Bye.